Greetings and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Wrath, and I'm just putting together this small video to try and give an update on my channel to explain what's been going on with my channel and why there haven't been any videos recently. Aside from, work schedule and stuff, which has ramped up a bit, there's an issue that came up that sort of stopped me in my tracks, which was as I was putting together my videos for the most recent post of my playthrough series of The Witcher 3, I came to realize that there was a certain connotation, or not so much connotation, but it's hard to describe. It was a feeling that I got where I suddenly realized that if I were to play through a game, or just playing fully through any story-driven game, that really it kind of ruins the experience for people who might buy that game for the story. And it got me to thinking, and it sort of just made me pause and stop recordings for a while I considered how I felt about the idea of constantly putting up videos that would ruin the experience for other people. And while I'm a very big proponent of doing like introductory series and a series showcasing a new game so that people can get an idea of whether or not they might like it and want to play it, the idea of simply playing through a game to the point that other people no longer really need to play it to really experience the story, especially if that story is very linear, kind of sat badly with me. So I decided to stop for a while I got myself sorted out mentally on what I wanted to do. And I've decided that while I will do short videos or a short series on newer games, especially games that are really of interest to me and that I think that deserve a lot of attention, I'm not going to play through all the way those games in a recorded series because of the fact that I think that it would be better to get people's attention to it and drive people to acquire the game rather than just having somebody watch the game vicariously through my play and not really go out and buy the game, because that really defeats the purpose of drawing attention to games, because the developer pretty much loses out on that. And as a software developer myself, though I don't do games, I do business software, I can understand the ramifications of people not being able to get the benefit of the work that they've done and getting paid for that work, reaping the rewards of what is arguably a very difficult job. So what I've settled on is that while I will do the short series showcasing newer games, I'm going to try and focus my efforts more on sort of games where it's my own content, like in a sandbox, for example, Kerbal Space Program, or multiplayer games such as World of Tanks, which you're seeing in the background here, so that I had some video to go along with this long rant of mine. But I didn't want to just leave it up in the air. Now, I have been spending a lot of time playing EVE Online, which is another game that I would really like to do some coverage on. However, most of my activities has been with running the incursions, and the incursion groups that I run with unfortunately have a no video recording policy, so I've been unable to really record any activity that would be worth watching. You know, watching me jump around from one star system to another is really unexciting, and a lot of the content that I'm really going through on that is, again, under that agreement that no one record the actual events, because I don't know, there's some nature of secrecy there, but you know, I did agree to it, so I can't record any of that, and I will try to find some activities to record that are worth getting people's attention, because EVE is a really good game if you've got the right mindset for it. Now, as far as my Kerbal Space Program series, the Conflicted Space series, I am working on some additional videos for that, but there have been delays due to some technical issues. I ran into some problems with a couple of the mods, which was that mainly it's my issue with BD Armory. And don't get me wrong, I like BD Armory. I love the weapons that it adds to the game. However, there's an issue with them being slightly overpowered. And I am putting together a video showcasing the dozens of tests and steps I've been taking to try and readjust the balance of those weapons so that they will match up more with what I want, because what I found was that when I constructed these really large ships, there's an aspect of BD Armory that not a lot of people pay attention to, and that is that the kinetic factor of the weapons. And you'll see, if you download BD Armory, you'll see the effect quite clearly when you test it out, as I will show in a future video in the next week or so, which is that while the weapon's damage is based on heat, they also transfer kinetic energy. And this causes the parts to fail because of impact, not because of overheating. And that doesn't really make much of a difference when you're just shooting at some of the normal parts, but when you're using some of the structural parts as a sort of makeshift armor, it becomes extremely clear, because I had a couple of tests where I built some moderately sized ships, you know, 600-700 parts, and had armored them all up, but then was able to annihilate them with small fighters carrying nothing but light armament of guns. And that really didn't sit well with me, because I wanted to go more of the route of what Veos Human had put in one of his videos. And if you haven't seen it, go and look at his stock war weapons videos, where he talks about first look, first shot, first kill, which is a concept of how engagements really would work, instead of what you see in a lot of people's videos, even with the stock weaponry, where they're firing at point-blank range with kinetic kill weapons, which are basically SRVs fired at each other within line of sight. So I wanted to rebalance it, and I found that certain parts were totally and utterly invincible to BD Armory. And when I went and started looking at the configs for those parts, I realized that it was based not only on their heat tolerance, but also on their break tolerance. And I've had to do a lot of testing to try and find a good balance where the plates, the structural plates that I'm going to be using for armor, will actually be mostly impervious, or at least highly resistant to guns, or at least the small caliber guns, whereas but not so powerful that they'll be invincible against missiles. So expect that in a future video, probably in the next week or so. But I wanted to give this sort of update so that everybody knew where I was, that I haven't gone away or just disappeared into the void of the internet. So future videos will be coming, but I have delayed things while I sort of get my act together and make sure that really the product that I'm delivering is something that I'm okay with and that I don't feel like I'm taking away from the hard work and effort of developers of games, but rather supplementing or augmenting their press. So I'm Wrath, and I hope to catch you in the future, and until I see you next time, I'll catch you up on the flip side.